Hello and welcome to Earth Drama, my podcast. This is episode 4. Let's just take 3 deep breaths before we begin because I need to do it for me and it's good for you. Okay. Okay, so as per usual, I didn't plan super well, but I have a bit more of a plan because I made notes for this episode and I don't plan on it being a long episode at all. I plan on it being really short actually because the main gist of this episode is that I'm on a digital detox and I don't really want to be on the interwebs. And I'm sad that humanity seems to be addicted like I am / was. I'm coming out of it to the digital media stuff, I guess, like social media, but also just media. And I'm reading this book. It's called Stolen Focus: Why You Can't Pay Attention, How to Think Deeply Again by Joanne Hari. Or is it Johan? It's a male, so it's probably not pronounced Joanne, but maybe it is. I don't know. And yeah, it's a really good book. And it's I don't think I'm halfway yet, but it's just, I'm resonating with so much of it. And I really like how it's laid out because it's not just a bunch of science thrown in your face. There's a whole storyline to it because the guy that wrote it is speaking from his personal experience because he was pretty heavily addicted to the constant stimulation of his phone or Twitter or emails. And it was just taking over his life and he seemed pretty freaking stressed. And I noticed within myself that my nervous system was getting way out of control. And I realized I needed a break from the media for a while, but I was struggling to stick with it. And I just kept finding myself day after day drawn again to the interwebs. For me, I'm not as much into the social aspect of the social media. Besides looking at other people's comments, I really don't like engaging at all myself. And I know I have a freaking YouTube channel. I'm posting right now and there's comments, but the comments have always stressed me out. And it just becomes a task too, that it doesn't have to be I don't get a lot of comments these days. And I'm happy for that because I don't know, when I was posting other types of content, I was getting more comments on actually TikTok, especially my certain videos were getting a lot of views. It's just stressful for me because I'm quite sensitive to what other people perceive of me. So I'm still working through that. And it's just not healthy for me to expose myself to a lot of that. But frankly, yeah, I just don't enjoy engaging in that way, really. I have been doing the live streams on my channel. That's mostly what I've been doing. And I very much prefer those types of comments, having an active live stream and engaging with people in real time rather than just spending time. I don't know. I'm just done. When the live is done, I'm just done. And there's a beginning and an end to it, I think is what's easier with that. It's okay, I talk and go through the comments and stuff in real time while I'm live. And then when it's done, it's done. There's nothing to like go and answer and go back to. Like I've just really not ever been good, I think, with keeping up with emails or other tasks in general, but like especially the digital tasks. It just gets really addictive, and it's like annoying too that the platforms are capitalizing on the human brain and like what is stimulating and keeps you going back for more. And like they're just using techniques that actually keep you addicted. I'm not saying anything new here if you've heard about this type of stuff, but I do want to read an excerpt from the book that I mentioned, Stolen Focus, because it just, God, it really put it in perspective. Like what is going on, like just it, yeah, the addiction to the media. Like, so for me, like I said, okay, I said I was going to read the excerpt. I will in a sec. But yeah, I just want to explain because yeah, for me, the addiction was more so just consuming media, and I started subscribing to certain channels because it was just cheap dopamine hits, but it was like affecting my nervous system. I was not like, it was affecting my sense of self. I just don't have enough of a solid sense of self yet, I guess, to not be triggered. I know that word's used a lot, but it's legitimate. Like for what I'm talking about, like triggered, literally triggered by content. Like when they're talking about celebrities, like I like to know, I don't like to anymore because I'm turning a new leaf, and I realized how much it was like making me stressed and like triggered me. Right. But before, like a few days ago, before I started doing the detox, like my brain, like the dopamine hit of like some new info, some like celebrity drama and all that. I delve in, but like the whole time I feel like it's ridiculous that we put celebrities on a pedestal, and I just wanted to, I guess, find out what the people are doing, like what they're trying to cancel people for, which I think is just ridiculous. Like the fact that they're trying to, it's just like every video on, not every video, but like so many, God, all the drama channels too, like they'll just like all make the same video, like on the same person, and it's basically saying the same thing. Kind of like it would pop up in my feed. Now that I've like started unsubscribing, I'm trying to like change my algorithm, but like the Blake Lively stuff is just like still going on, and the whole drama of it all is just like literally that she's a human. Like people are upset because she's not doing this thing right, and she's being rude in this interview. It's like, yeah, I don't know, she's human. Like what? People are obsessed with it. Like it's interesting that people like their focus is there, and it's like, yeah, I don't want my freaking focus to be that. Like I thought I would delve in to like give my comments about it, but at the same time, like it's just a waste of time. And then hearing how they're talking about this person, like it's just all negative. I don't know. It's just like all negative. I realized it's obviously all negative. Like I don't watch the mainstream news because it's mostly just negative. It's like this many people died and this tragic thing happened over in this part of the world. And then it's just not what I want to fill my freaking head with. But I thought it was interesting hearing about different scenarios and situations with the celebrities, but it's all negative. It's just like they're doing this thing wrong and they did this and I don't know. Like the things commented on, it's never positive. It seems like it's never, yeah, it's always just like, oh, you wouldn't believe what happened, or so-and-so messed up, like whatever celebrity. And then it's also just clickbait. Obviously it's like creating a story and a narrative that's not even true. And it's like they said one thing in an interview and then people are like making it this like big drama, this big thing, like the freaking earth drama of it all. Okay. That was a tangent. I need to get back to the task at hand of like reading the portion that I wanted to read to you guys of this book. But, so for me, yeah, the addiction was like not really posting stuff myself so much. Like I don't enjoy like doing my own comments and stuff, but I am affected by the reaction to my content. Like, it's getting better. Like, that is what I'm trying to completely detach from. I was looking into emotional detachment. So along with this digital detox and unaddicting myself to consuming the media and the content and stuff like that, I'm also wanting to completely emotionally detach from the things, like detach from the outcome of my channel. Like each video. Yeah, I've sat there obsessively, like after a live stream, or no, not my live. Okay, I've sat there obsessively, like after posting a podcast episode, just like refreshing the page to just see if like anyone else watches. But I'm also aware that I'm not like making it clickable really. Like, I have the most basic, what's it called? Photo art thing for the podcast. Like, I don't know. It's just like a weird tick where it's like, yeah. And then after I do live streams, sometimes I lurk too much about how it went. Like, it lingers on me about how it went when I just want to like detach from it. So I'm trying to emotionally detach as well. But yeah, the media stuff, like I was just going so insane with trying to get dopamine hits and stimulation. So it would be just watching. It was just mostly my consumption was YouTube and switching the video every minute or so. Like, I couldn't even make it through a video. Like, I was not even ingesting the content. And then the type of content, like I've spoken about, was just negative drama, like, you know, and then I delve into politics here and there. Like, I take breaks and stuff, but so I hadn't been delving into really the politics stuff. I've been detached from that, but there's times where it just gets too unbalanced. Like, I don't want to completely shut off all of it. I am interested, like it intrigues me to hear about some stuff, but yeah, I was just like taking in so much of this thing and energy, and then it was actually stressing my nervous system because I was like putting myself into, it's just like being around energies, like people that are trying to pick at every little thing that you're doing wrong, like finding every single moment that Blake Lively, they perceive that she's being rude when she's like, sometimes she is, and then other times she's just making like a silly joke. And it's like, and yeah, it's like people just not treating people as humans, like people, like she's a real human. Like, it's just weird. This like internet, the parasocial relationship stuff. And no one actually knows these people talking about the celebrities and stuff. Like, none of them have met them. That's probably not true. Like, some of them maybe have met them. Like, they don't actually know them. And it's like making stories and narratives, and my brain just like use that for entertainment, but it's like takes so much away from my own freaking life. And then it just kept me like feeling just not as positive and more negative, and just like not as excited about my stuff, or just like keeping me more in the fear of being scrutinized and criticized. And it's just like interesting that I gravitate towards that stuff. Like, I don't agree with a lot of it. I like my past experiences have to do with like someone being really hypercritical, and I'm just trying to be myself. And so I'm trying to come out of that. So I guess I listened to some of the stuff of what like the other people are doing and saying and trying to cancel people or creating these like narratives, because I want to give my more balanced opinion. Like, I want to put my take out there to be like, this person's just like a human, like whatever. Yeah. The things that I've already mentioned, but it's just, yeah, it's just like interesting that I was like freaking just stressing myself out, and then like listening to it and like getting stressed in my body. And like I've said before, I've taken breaks before from the stuff, I guess, but this is like more of an actual lifestyle change. Like, in the past, I would consume a lot of the content and stuff, and then I'm like, I just can't. And I had to just be in the dark, like just not listen to anything. But I am the type of person that, for me, what was happening was, you know, going for a walk, always got something in my ear. And not all of it is like, it wasn't all like the drama, negative stuff, but it would just be listening to podcasts or something. And then like a topic would come up in that podcast though, that would like, I don't know, trigger me. Like, I don't know. It was just like too much listening to other people's opinions and what they think of things. Right. And I was relying on it too, because of my like nervous system. I was relying on it for my sense of safety within my body, but ironically, it was stressing me out. Okay. And then I switched to consuming more just music instead of podcasts. Like I just sort of switched the content type kind of. I made a playlist called Morning Pump Up. So I'd put these upbeat songs on in the morning time to like pump me up. But even then I was getting stressed because I couldn't help but think about how I wasn't pursuing my own musical endeavors. Like it started to just take a toll that when I was listening to the other people, I was getting just down and sad and jealous that I was not doing my own. Yeah, just too much focusing on other people's shit and content. So I'm not completely okay. I'm way more now disconnected, but like I've made some ground rules. Like it's not completely like I can't use the internet at all whatsoever. And obviously I'm going to be like posting this episode, but I am really trying to mostly just like listen to content when I'm at the gym. And then that type of content, I'm listening to motivational stuff. Like I said, I've been unsubscribing from the drama channels. So listening to self-help, motivational stuff, and still some music at times. But like I'm really now I was spending probably like 90% of my time being immersed in other people's opinions or other people's content and whatever it was. And now I think I've flipped it more to where I'm at least trying to spend like 90% of the time in my own world. And just, I'm just not multitasking anymore. I'm not going to be listening to stuff. It's been so freeing. Like today, I've also been trying to not do the caffeine. Like I normally don't have that much caffeine and I don't really have much of like a caffeine addiction. Like I can really just sort of stop it. But like caffeine was another thing along with the media that I was searching for the dopamine hit and the stimulation. But then I'd be overstimulating myself because I'd have a little bit too much caffeine. And then my nervous system was like out of whack again. And like I was just grasping to cope with the present moment. But you know, at a certain point, you just got to rip off the Band-Aid and deal with the present moment. And when you've been preventing your own feelings to come up and pass through you, like when you've just been stuffing content in your ears or junk food or caffeine down your throat, initially there is going to be some uncomfortable feelings, at least in my experience, of like shutting it all down. Like it's like I haven't been dealing with the stress myself. I've been relying too much on these things, but it's today it was uncomfortable for the first however many hours of the day. I felt like unwell. Like I'll feel a sadness without the media a lot of times. Like I was very much using it as a crutch and some sort of safety comfort thing, right? Like to regulate my nervous system, because I think it just goes way back. Like one of my feeling safe in my childhood activities was like movie night, like watching a movie or something. It was revolved around watching TV. And I did put a show on the other day. There was a new Impractical Jokers movie. So it's just like fun, lighthearted stuff. Like the other stuff, again, like stressful, like people just criticizing, like picking people apart for the smallest thing that they think they should have done it this way. Like just projecting perfectionism onto human beings. And like, that is like literally my emotional trauma, is like feeling like I had to be perfect and like I couldn't be myself and stuff. And it's like, why the frick was I watching stuff constantly about people not letting people just like be themselves. Like, I don't know. It's just an interesting thing. So yeah, I'm being very intentional with what I am exposing myself to. Like, I'm just being very careful with what I expose myself to, because I was under the control of I was under the influence. Okay. I'm going to call it under the influence of the media I was consuming, which makes sense. Like, okay, TV for one thing is like hypnotizing. It's kind of creepy. I do believe in like the mind control stuff, like the CIA, MK Ultra, creepy experiments of mind control and stuff like that. And I don't think a lot of the content, like people are intentionally trying to do that necessarily, but if you aren't careful of what's happening, like it's just so easy to be a passive participant in this, like being influenced by the content and like losing yourself in it. So anyways, that's where I'm at. I know it's been forever that I said I was going to read this part of this book, but it like kind of segues nice into the theme of the excerpt that I wanted to read, because it's like talking about, they did these studies, what's his name? B.F. Skinner was a psychologist back in the day. It was like during World War II. He was doing these experiments on pigeons and learned a lot of stuff. So I'm just going to start right here. American psychology was dominated by one big idea, epitomized by a famous scientist. A Harvard professor named B.F. Skinner had become an intellectual celebrity by discovering something strange. You can take an animal that seems to be freely making up its own mind about what to pay attention to, like a pigeon or a rat or a pig, and you can get it to pay attention to whatever you choose for it. You can control its focus as surely as if it was a robot and you had created it to obey your whims. Here's an example of how Skinner did it that you can try for yourself. Take a pigeon, put it in a cage, keep it until it's hungry, then introduce a bird feeder that releases seed into the cage when you push a button. Pigeons move around a lot, so wait until the pigeon makes a random movement that you've chosen in advance, like, say, jerking its head up high or sticking out its left wing, and at that precise moment, release some pellets. Then wait for it to make the same random movement again and give it more pellets. If you do this a few times, the pigeon will quickly learn that if it wants pellets, it should carry out the random gesture you have chosen, and it will start to do it a lot. If you manipulate it correctly, its focus will come to be dominated by the twitch that you choose to reward. It will come to jerk up its head. It will come to jerk up its head or stick out its left wing obsessively. When Skinner discovered this, he wanted to figure out how far you could take this. How elaborately can you program a pigeon animal using these reinforcements? Okay, so B.F. Skinner, he ended up taking this experiment a lot further, and then he ended up teaching the pigeon how to play ping pong. It says you can teach a rabbit to pick up coins and put them into piggy banks. You can teach a pig to vacuum. Many animals will focus on very complex and to them meaningless things if you reward them right. So, like, they're being driven by that reward, right? But it seems like it's so obsessive. Like, that becomes just like their obsession in life and their motivation. And it just gets creepy when we get to the part where it's talking about Instagram. But okay, it says Skinner became convinced that this principle explained human behavior almost in its entirety. You believe that you are free and that you make choices and you have a complex human mind that is selecting what to pay attention to, but it's all a myth. You and your sense of focus are simply the sum total of all the reinforcements you have experienced in your life. Human beings, he believed, have no minds, not in the sense that you're a person with free will, making your own choices. You could be reprogrammed in any way that a clever designer wants. Years later, the designers of Instagram asked, if we reinforce our users for taking selfies, if we give them hearts and likes, will they start to do it obsessively, just like the pigeons will obsessively hold out its left wing to get extra seed? They took Skinner's core techniques and applied them to 1 billion people. Yeah, it's like really just dystopian, like feeling. It just feels so icky. Like when I read that part, I was like, ew, I'm literally like the pigeon, like flinging its little wing up obsessively, like me pressing refresh over and over and over again after I've posted a video on YouTube to like see if it gets more views or something, or like checking back to Instagram posts to see if it's got more engagement or views. Like, I don't want to be doing that. And I've really, like, I don't spend a lot of time in those realms. Like I said, like my main thing was like consuming other people's content, stuff like that. But when I go back into those realms, like I make a new Instagram post or something, I'm aware of it, but like I'm just prone again to that like reinforcement, the likes. And it's just like, we need to take away the likes, honestly. What is it for? What is it's for the company, I feel. It's just like to keep, I don't know. Did Facebook used to have a like and dislike? Like, does Facebook still have a dislike? My Facebook's been deactivated. I only activate it when I'm trying to sell something on Facebook Marketplace. And yeah, so I don't know, but ew, like Facebook still, like the concept of having just displaying something, it's just so unnatural. And I do think it causes us to start to like get narcissistic-y, that we think the world revolves around us. I know it just like gives out a false perception of what's really going on. Like you're, I don't know, in the spotlight somehow. Like what, like how would that happen in real life? I guess besides being a celebrity, like the only equivalent, like, I don't know, like who's walking around showing that, like who's walking around sharing photos, like handing out photos and asking people to rate them, like being like or dislike my thing, like or dislike my thing. And it's just hard because I don't want to be a part of it. Like, I don't even want to post for, like, I don't want people looking at I don't want people addicted to their phone. And like, I'm part of it because like they're watching my live stream for a couple hours, or they're looking through my Instagram or something. Like, how do I still be a creative person and want to like share that over the interwebs? So that's like what I'm trying to figure out lately. But my main goal with that especially is to just like try to remain and get just even more completely authentic and not care at all about the likes or the views or trying to get people to watch me. Someone made a comment, I think on the last episode, about how the artwork for it was like pretty bland or something like that, or just like not, I'm butchering the comment. I don't know exactly, like, sorry if you're listening, I forget exactly how you worded it. And it was like, it was just like an observation that was true. It's like, yeah, it's just like a black background, white text. It's like the most basic thing ever. It's not captivating. Like, it's not, it's also like, it's probably not representing what the podcast is. So like, that's, I think, what the angle this person was also coming from and stuff like that. But like, I just have an aversion too now to like, I answered the comment and I was like, yes, I agree. I put the most minimal effort, or I made the most minimal effort or something like that, because this is what I did. And it just wasn't going to be posted if I obsessed about what the artwork was going to be, or like try to go take this whole photo or put together some like art thing for the cover art of the podcast. Like, what the frick is it actually called? A cover art? Like, I was like, I just like can't, I'm going to make it the most simple thing because like, I just want to start posting. But I'm also really indecisive and stuff. So I thought, okay, as I get some more episodes in, like maybe I'll change it to fit what actually happens on the podcast, because a lot of times I set out on an intention and it becomes like a different thing than what I anticipated. So I can always just go and change every thumbnail with new cover art if I want. But then like with this vibe of like detoxing from the really intense stimulation and stuff like that, it's like, I don't want to try to be all flashy and clickable. Like, I guess like that's what you're supposed to do to be successful on the platform as well. But like, I don't want to like be a part of the manipulation. Like, I think it's totally like, I wasn't a big fan of it because it was so plain and stuff. And this person highlighted that. But like now I'm almost like, oh my God, that is like the vibe of, hey, I'm trying not to overstimulate you. Like, I'm trying not to rope you in and be like, click me. Ooh, look at this pretty picture. It's just more like chill and boring. Like, I honestly, these days I'm trying to be bored because I was not letting myself be bored and just let my mind wander and not be always trying to do a thing or stimulate myself. And there's a whole chapter of the book, the Stolen Focus book. There's a whole chapter on, or a section on like mind wandering and how beneficial it is. Although he does say that like it can turn into rumination if it's sort of like highlighting if you're already internally feeling a certain way, I guess, maybe stressed or anxious, something like that. Like it can take a turn towards rumination, which like happens to me a lot, but it's been a lot better since I worked on my distorted beliefs. Like, the being alone with myself and my own thoughts isn't as much tormenting and like a self-attack anymore. And it, like if it starts to get that way, I'm more aware of it. And I am just really trying to emotionally detach from the thoughts. And so that helps. But yeah, I'm trying to, like, I'm finding the joy in life again, because I was getting a type of a depression from being addicted to the media. And it's like, when you're overstimulating yourself, it's like, I wasn't even getting enjoyment anymore of the videos. And I was switching them, and that like I was searching for something that it became unattainable. Like, I was trying to use it to comfort myself. Right. And like, I just needed to be with myself, because I was also searching for it. Like I was talking about how then I was listening to music, and then I was being sad that I haven't been pursuing my own music. And it just like was this like vicious cycle of, I'm trying to seek comfort and emotional safety, like safety in my body, by like listening to something, not having to deal with my own thoughts. But then that content is like triggering, like reminding me that I haven't been like pursuing my own creative endeavors. And to pursue my own creative endeavors, I have to sit with myself and deal with myself and deal with those internal thoughts and things, and just like be bored and not be occupied all the time with someone else's content. So it is really coming full circle. I have been just like, it was just, yeah, I didn't know how to get out of it before. And I think I'm realizing like this book is really helping me. It's like just validating the stuff that I've been feeling. And then when you rip off the Band-Aid and you spend even just one day with like, you're able to attain like really limited media, and like to a certain point, because like I said, things can get heightened when you shut it all off initially, but when you just sort of push through, you just find the joys in life again. And I yeah, I feel like I was doing, it talks about multitasking in the book as well, and how it's not actually a thing. Like, it's not possible. When we think we're multitasking, we're actually still just doing one task at a time, but we're just switching between the two tasks. And he talks about how switching all the time between tasks is like consuming this whole extra amount of energy. So it is actually really just more beneficial. Obviously, it's not like have your phone be dinging and like answering texts like while you're working. But yeah, people might think that it's just the same amount of time spent broken up instead of them just like doing that one task and then answering texts after or something. But it's actually like this extra waste of energy because it takes a certain amount of time for your brain to refocus again, like re-switch again into the task. It actually takes like a really long amount of time. Actually, I think I didn't write down the stats, did not prepare well, but if you read the book, you'll find out that exact answer. But yeah, there's a chapter on flow state, and because yeah, it's about thinking deeply again. And like, I'm just like happy that I'm reading books again. I've been going to the library, and as a kid I used to read, but the screens are just, they can just be more flashy and more interesting, and our brains can just like crave the newness and that. But he talks about how like reading a full book again, like it forces you to, it's just different than reading articles on the internet when you have to like dedicate a good chunk of time to the one book, to like the one task subject at hand. You are really committing to that thing. So you're actually allowing the things to integrate, and like you're actually retaining what you're reading and stuff. Whereas the other stuff, like we're just skimming, like it's just like really shallow too, right? And I noticed that like I said, I'm still listening to some media, but I'm choosing what I indulge in. And then I've been finding myself having the urge to switch the thing, like being bored right away. But then I'm like, let's give this a chance. And then I sit and I actually can like enjoy a movie again. You know, I think a lot of us can relate to just not being able to get through a movie, or we have the movie on, but then we're on our phone at the same time and we're like doing all these like different tasks at once and whatever, and not actually gaining anything from one thing. And I feel like that's what makes life kind of like meaningless. Like you don't give yourself a chance to have an actual thought or feeling about a single thing. Like you're just switching all day, and you're like the pigeon with the freaking wing, like obsessively switching. So you end up doing nothing, but then I think you feel like you're doing a whole lot because you're gathering all this information, and it is just unnatural and not healthy, I feel, to have like the amount of information at our disposal that we could try to, like, it's impossible to digest all that info. So what people are doing they're just skimming like the beginning of each article, and like but it's so much just more enjoyable and meaningful to like read one article all the way through, and to not be switching and switching and switching. Like I'm really noticing the switching all the time for me, and like the peace in giving, like really just getting meditative with it, honestly. So even just like doing a workout at the same time as listening to something. So I have been letting myself listen to media at the gym. Like I think I already mentioned that. And so I was listening to some self-help type of a thing, and I can be pretty attentive to it when I'm on like the treadmill or elliptical, but I was doing an exercise where I was counting the reps. And so I'm switching, like I'm not actually multitasking, right? I am like quickly switching back and forth from like counting. Like I can't actually do the two actually at the same time, like listen to the content and retain and digest everything, and then also be counting my reps for the exercise I'm doing. And I honestly felt like I wanted to just sit, like I wanted to separate it. I wanted to just do that exercise and not listen to anything because I was losing bits of information that were important, that were like making it actually interesting. So that's the thing. I think like we're a lot of times half paying attention to the things, and then that's why we're bored, because we're not even fully paying attention. So we're not like getting the meaningful things. So anyways, I think I'm actually going to end this now. And I'm going out of town tomorrow, and my goal is I don't want to do a live stream. Like I want to have 5 solid days in a row of being way more in my own energy. I might listen to a few things or like watch. I might go see a film when I'm in that city. But actually one of my main goals is to like just do a lot more reading, spend time with the books and getting into like flow state with the books while I'm reading and just being immersed in that activity. And then I want to get immersed in other activities like getting back to my music and getting into flow with music production, because it's really been just a struggle. It's like really something that stresses me out, because like I let perfectionism and stressful things like get in the way of the joy in it. Okay, I said I was going to end this now, but it's just like, it's what happens. It made me think of, so the book talks about, I was talking about not caring about the outcome, like flow state, being really into the present moment. And when it's done, there's not like the obsession of the likes and what it's the attention the thing is going to get that you were doing. Like the joy is just being like one with that activity. He talked about a painter. I think he was just watching this painter maybe at the beach or something. It was like the painter, or maybe it was just like a hypothetical situation, but once the painting was done, it's like they were in that flow state, like that just, hours long flow state, and like time stops, or it's like, oh my God, it's been this many hours. And it's just like such a good feeling. Like I need to cultivate that. Like it's been so long. Like when have I last had that experience? It's been so long. Like it's just such a fulfilling feeling. Like that is like pure meditation for me. I do like to do things meditatively. So yeah, anyways, he was talking about how when the painter's done, he doesn't go show it around and it's like, is attached to some sort of like outcome with the painting. He just goes right into another painting. The purpose and the joy of it is like doing the thing, not what's going to happen when it's done. So that's how I want to treat my music. And when I have been able to get into that flow state, it's like, oh my God, this is fun. Like, why did I even stress about this? Like, why did I care so much about how it was going to turn out or make it this like not fun thing? Like, I just want the things to be fun again. And I'm finding other things that I want to spend doing that are just so much more freaking meaningful than just consuming other people's content, like just activities around town, the reading, just maybe picking up some things that I had abandoned years ago that I used to like, or things as a kid. So that's where we're at. And so yeah, I'm going to be I'm really going to be trying to detach from the media and then my channel as well for the next at least 5 days. So anyways, never know how to end these. I never know how to, okay, bye. Like how else to end it besides bye, goodbye, take care. And if, I don't know, you feel yourself just not enjoying life and not feeling meaning, maybe this stuff has to do with it. Maybe the social media or just media addiction has to do with it. So anyways, okay. Bye-bye.